So I've been hanging out this afternoon at Fiesta Island. All of last summer when I was here in San Diego, I never really even knew about this place. I mean, I think I had maybe heard the name, but I never came over to check it out. So today I decided to drive over here, and I'm glad that I did. It's a pretty cool little place. They allow you to drive right up onto the beach and park and hang out. There's a bunch of RVs parked over there, just kind of taking it easy, and pretty much everyone here has just kind of got their cars and trucks right up on the beach, and they're all camped out, hanging out for the day. So I've been wanting to discuss a bit about it is way too windy out there to shoot this outside, so we're going to shoot it in the element. What I was saying is I've been wanting to discuss a little bit about my month-to-month expenses and how much it really costs me to live full-time in the element. Obviously, everyone's budget is going to be different. Folks are going to spend more or less depending on, what they're doing, and it's going to vary from month to month as well, just like it does for me. What I'm going to do here is discuss my budget from last month, exactly 1 month. It just happens to be that exactly 1 month ago is when I left New Orleans and hit the road, so I figured now was as good a time as any to discuss how much it costed me to get out here and to travel and do some of the things that I did while I was on the road. So that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully this can help folks who are considering doing a road trip or something like that, living out of their vehicle, to get a better idea of how much it's probably going to cost them to do so. The first thing, which was a lot higher for me, obviously, last month than it pretty much has been in any other month because I'm more stationary more often than not, but is gas. I spent just under $500 in gas to get from New Orleans out to San Diego. Obviously, I made quite a few pit stops. I stopped at Big Bend National Park all the way in southwest Texas and then drove all the way up to northern Utah to Salt Lake City. So I was definitely crisscrossing a little bit. It wasn't a direct route or anything like that, and I definitely was driving around a lot. So, that was definitely a pretty high number. I didn't expect to spend that much. It was a little bit more than I was intending to spend, but I'm glad that I did. I got to see a whole lot of Utah and a bunch of New Mexico and Texas as well, so it was definitely worth it. It's definitely a lot of miles at 24 miles to the gallon here in the element, but like I said, normal months, it's going to be a lot less than that. Going forward this summer here in San Diego, I'm looking at $100 to $200 a month in gas costs total per month while I'm here. Next thing is food. Food in general, I break up groceries and eating out. I separate them. So for groceries, I spent $230.13. That was mostly going to Walmart, picking things up. I did cook quite a bit last month, more than I normally do while I was out camping and stuff like that. So I'm sure that helped save some money because my total eating out cost was only $93, and a big portion of that was going to grab some food with one of my friends when I met up with him in Los Angeles. So it really wasn't so bad. Over the entire month I only spent about $93 to eat out. The total food cost there is about, I don't know, what is that? That's about $320 or so, $323, but not so bad. And then the last thing out of the fluctuating expenses that I budget for is my miscellaneous expenses. That's random things that go wrong, random things I want to do. That Inland Surf Park is in there. I spent money to do that. It was just under $100 to explore that place and experience that. So my total miscellaneous expenses was $129.93. I also spent $470 though on my new tires, which I did just the other day. So that's in there as well. I didn't add that as part of the total cost that I mentioned before because that came out of my savings. It came out of money that I had set aside to work, to spend on the element. So it's not like a normal thing. That's something that happens every so many months where I have to spend money like that on the element. So I didn't count that. But other miscellaneous expenses, just under $130. It's not a bad view to have from the office today. Can't complain too much about that. So that sums it up for the fluctuating expenses. I call them fluctuating because they change from month to month, and I separate them from my actual monthly bills, which are pretty much always consistent. The total for the fluctuating expenses, food and gas and miscellaneous random things, not including the tires obviously, was $952.62 for last month. And then for my month-to-month things, the things that don't change, I have 4 school loans. I'm not gonna obviously mention the student loans there because it doesn't apply to everyone else. But the 3 other things are my car insurance, my Planet Fitness gym membership, and my health coverage. So my Planet Fitness membership is $20 a month, and then my car insurance runs me around $117 or so a month. Last month it was that. It changes a little bit between my premium, the way it's broken down, but that's it. And that's full coverage on the element there. And then the last thing, which I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about, is my health coverage. So it's not technically health insurance. What it is it's a cost-sharing nonprofit organization, which I pay $131 a month for, and it's an alternative to the ACA. It's an alternative to Obamacare, essentially. I had Obamacare last year, but this year my rates were going up pretty substantially. They were up, I think, like 30 or 40% across Louisiana, and it was going to be a lot more expensive, and I was going to be paying more for a worse plan. Essentially a plan that, instead of having a reasonable deductible like I managed to somehow get last year, this year it was going to be a lot higher, like a $7,000 deductible for like almost $200 a month out of pocket. So it wasn't worth it for me. I decided to go with this instead. Like I said, it is an alternative. It's legal, I guess you could say, in the sense that I'm not going to face that big fine that you get if you don't have health insurance because of the ACA now. So that was basically a way to avoid that fine while still having some sort of coverage. And it works. I mean, it seems to work pretty well. I haven't had to use it yet, but it's going to cover me in anywhere that I go, which is really nice as a traveler. My old plan was an HMO, and it was not going to cover me anywhere except for Louisiana. So even if I did get into a horrible illness or a horrible accident out here in San Diego, it was not going to even be covered anyway. So I was paying all that money for basically for nothing while I was traveling. So I decided to go with this instead. It'll cover me across the country, and basically, I mean, I do go to a doctor, though, without having insurance. They're going to bill me, hopefully, less because I don't have insurance. Normally, they bill the insurance companies more than they bill individual people, and then I could take that bill and submit it to the cost sharing, and then hopefully get reimbursed for it. More often than not, get reimbursed for it if it's covered under the guidelines that they have. So it's a viable nonprofit alternative, and it's something that I'm trying out this year. Like I said, I haven't had to use it yet. Knock on wood, I don't have to use it at all, but in the case that I do, I will keep you guys posted and let you all know how it works out. So that pretty much sums it up. Like I said, it was just over $1,200 total for last month, and I expect the upcoming months are going to be a little bit cheaper now that I'm here in San Diego. Like I said, I'm going to be spending a lot less on gas, probably more like $900 or so a month, not including my student loans and any random crazy expenses that come up from time to time. So I guess the question is it worth it? Is it a good deal to only pay $1,200 a month to live? Well, when I was living in an apartment and working, my expenses were quite a bit higher. They were in the $1,800 to $2,000 area, obviously including student loans and stuff. But still, I mean, that area was quite a bit higher. So it's definitely cheaper to live in the element like this. And at the same time, yeah, I'm probably spending a little bit more on gas, but I'm getting to see the country. I'm seeing all these beautiful places and meeting a lot of great people and traveling and doing what I love to do. So for me, absolutely, there's no question. It is worth it to live in a van and to have the reduced expenses like this and to be able to travel. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you all in the next video.